Football returned to Lambeau Field as the Indianapolis Colts went toe-to-toe with a Malik Willis-led Green Bay Packers team. Our 105th home opener game, resulting in a 16-10 victory. That score does not tell the whole story, though. We're going to break it all down, probably leave out some facts. Have you run the damn ball today on
Two dads and a Chaz putting trophies on the wall. Two dads and a Chaz is talking Green Bay Packers football. Not exactly qualified, but answers the call. Two dads and a Chaz talking Green Bay Packers football. We gonna break it all down, probably leave out some facts. We gonna make some statements that we'll likely regret. Mostly gossip and rumors made straight off the top. So crank up the air condition, cause it's bound to get hot. Two dads and a Chaz, you know we live it and we live it right. Two dads and a Chaz, we gonna break down football for you tonight. Besides some rings and putting trophies on the wall. Trophies, y'all. Two dads and a Chaz is talking Green Bay Packers football. Yeah, we talking Green Bay Packers football.
Welcome back, guys, to Two Dads and a Chaz. I'm a dad and your host, Tyson Fauché. Joined by the entire gang today. To start with my fellow dad, the Porcelain Prince. He's our numbers guy in-house, Aaron Mayhew. How you feeling, bud?
Oh, T-Bone, I'm feeling real good. The boys came away with a W with a backup quarterback that was in this offense for like maybe 3 weeks. That's a goddamn good Sunday. I'm excited to break it down with y'all.
Thank you, Mayhew. And of course, it wouldn't be Two Dads and a Chaz without at least one Chaz. So we got our good friend, Chazzy Buddy Baby Boy in house. Chazzy, say hello to the people.
Hey, y'all. Hope you're all having a great time. Don't forget to put the cream on there. And thank you for liking, subscribing, and don't forget to watch Two Dads and a Chaz, the Green Bay Packer Pod with the Dad Bod Tyson. Back to you.
And last but not least, let's not forget our blue collar buddy. He makes orange snack time look manly, Mr. Ty Window. Ty, what's going on?
Dads, Chaz, Packer fans worldwide. I've learned a few things over the years, and one of the things I've learned is the good ones make it look easy. When you see somebody or some people making it look easy, that's how you know they've been working on their craft. The Packers made it look easy against the Colts, and I just think that that's like a huge sign that we're on to something good.
Well, fantastic. I'm excited, guys. Let's get into it. Everybody who has been watching and enjoying the Two Dads and a Chaz experience, we want to thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Also, just wanted to break down, we do this show in 4 quarters, just like football. You know, life kind of happens in 4 quarters in some ways. So we're going to announce each quarter as we transfer and try to keep up. So this is the beginning of our first quarter of the show. Welcome out. First quarter starts now. Today on Two Dads and a Chaz, we are definitely going to break down that game against the Colts and kind of, take some stock as to where we are in our season and how excited you are to be 1-1 going into this year. It to me, this seemed like a real positive win, but I would love to go over it just a little bit here. Who are some players that you guys really felt like stepped up and delivered? Mayu, I'm gonna go to you first.
I'll take the low-hanging fruit here, gentlemen, with Josh Jacobs. Okay, as someone who is a little bit, look, I was critical of him in week 1. I had really high expectations. He seemed less explosive to me. Real slow first half. Guy came shot out of a cannon during this game, and it was shifty stuff. Not just like running between the tackles. He was making guys miss. I'm going to break it down here. He gained 126 yards after first contact for 6 missed tackles, had 4 runs of over 10 yards. And despite fumbling at the goal line, which almost lost me my fantasy, I'm willing to let it slide because the future looks very bright. And I think this running back that we invested heavily in the offseason is it's going to be a big season for him.
Good stuff, Mayhew. That's good. It's up to Ty. What you got?
My favorite thing about this last game was we had 6 different people run the ball. We also had 6 people catch the ball. We had as many people run the football as we did catch the ball. This was a team effort in running. Josh Jacobs is a good one to point out because he had the monster game a real bell cow kind of game like we were hoping for. But I mean, whether it was Malik Willis, Reed, Melton refusing to go down and just running for another 10 yards. I think that the fact that we showed we are anything but one-dimensional in the run game was just the biggest plus for me in this.
That's the ticket, Ty. Now that's the ticket. For me, the player that stepped up and I've been kind of impressed with this year is Devontae Wyatt. He's on my list of players that I thought really delivered. This is somebody that is going unnoticed. Usually you're used to Kenny Clark taking the majority of the energy, but in this case, this guy is finally, you're getting to see what we drafted. This is a guy who likes to get upfield and get after the quarterback. And for a person that we didn't see disappear for parts of the year last year, it was really nice to see him have a strong presence in these first two games. But there are some guys that did disappear and disappointed. Chazzy,
Yeah, but
who do you feel did not maybe have their best game and disappointed you a little bit? You expect a little more from?
well, Aaron Rodgers has really been sucking it for a minute. But beyond him, it's Jair, baby. Jair was my guy. He brings such a BD energy. And if you don't know what BD energy is, it comes from BD tie. And that's big dick energy, big dick tie energy. And he's always got it. I feel like after we lost to Darius Smith, who had this defensive energy that brought everybody into defensive play, I figured he'd be our guy. Now, it's only game 2. But the coverage that I'm seeing is lacking. And I just want to see this guy explode off the scene this season. And I haven't seen that so far. Now, I am crossing my fingers, my toes. And so I want to see Jair just step up just a little bit more.
Ty, anyone disappoint you?
Marshawn Lloyd coming in for 6 runs and then ending up back on the IR. It was tough. You know, he starts the season on the IR. There's a loophole. He squeaks through. We're like, all right, we're going to see this guy. It was impressive running for one play, but it's like, I'm not ready to anoint a guy the perennial backup on one play, especially when you can't make it through a whole half of NFL football durability wise. So his durability stock plummeted, in my opinion. We've got to do something about this. It's only getting thinner. I mean, really, the beyond Wilson, it's practice squad guys now. So Lloyd's kind of leaving us high and dry here too by just, I don't know if it's the technique or what, but 2 injuries in the span of a couple months, man, that will hurt your stock.
It definitely will. Disappointing, but also it's, there's a lot of bright siding there to consider with a explosive young back like Lloyd that nobody really knows what he's capable of, including us. Sometimes those guys come in handy, mid-late season. So
Yeah.
I'd rather have him healthy, I suppose, than just out there. But he looks good. Seems like he definitely has some zip. Hopefully we can get more out of him. Mayhew, anyone else disappoint you in terms of their performance?
Yeah, I hate to just continue to beat a dead horse here, but gentlemen, Quay Walker, to me, it's year 3 at this point, and I want this guy to be so good so badly, and it just seems more and more that I'm worried he doesn't have it in between the ears. Every time I see him in a gap, he's hitting the wrong gap. PFF had him rated as the lowest player on defense, missing 2 tackles, giving up 4 catches in coverage, and just overall poor against the run. We need more in the middle of this defense. I feel like secondary's playing great. I think our defensive line is getting better and better each game. We got to start giving up these big chunk plays. Jonathan Taylor had way too many big runs just because of people aren't holding down their end of things, So Quay, if you're listening, we know you are. Step it up a little bit, buddy. We need you next week.
Hell yeah. Quay is a guy that I believe in him. We believe in him in this pod. We want him to be successful.
We want him to be throwing guys on the ground like he used to, snapping back crying and getting thrown out of games, but like not that far.
Yeah.
But like
Right there.
can you just Hulk
Yeah.
out a little bit right on the edge?
Right,
Come
right.
on, baby.
Yeah, we need him to get closer to that line, maybe. Seems to maybe play angry a little bit. Remember that John Henderson clip where he gets slapped by the coach? He's like, "Come on, you gotta hit me harder than that, coach." He's like, "No, you play this coming out my mouth." Like that's what we gotta get a slapper in the locker room.
That's what I'm
Gets them
talking
all worked up.
That's
ready
what I'm
to
talking
go.
about.
We can build off of this game. There was some tough play.
Yeah.
Tough situations. And I think for the first time this year, we have a long overdue for a vomit report. Chazzy, can you give us a vomit report for the game, please?
Yeah. So I'm not calling this the Hawk 2 report. It's more like the Hawk and Hawk the ball. This has been covered ad nauseum a little bit. If you've been listening to anything about football in the last couple of days, it has been brought out. Yes. Josh Myers was literally the center who threw up onto the football. And the first play obviously was a run play. It was a third and only a little bit. And you could physically see what I would express as straight diarrhea out of his mouth. Who doesn't pull this guy? Who doesn't, like, even the refs were talking about, like, hey, to LaFleur, hey, if we see that maybe happening again, should we pull him out of the game? And he's like, yeah, obviously pull that guy out of the game. This is a major health concern post-COVID. What the hell are you doing?
I honestly felt bad for the defensive lineman, because like Malik probably couldn't even see it. He's trying to check like the defense and like, oh my God, what's in my hands here? But the guy that's like right across from you is like throwing up in your face before a play. Like that's brutal. Just brutal.
In his hand, too. He's like, "Oh, geez, darn it."
Long story short, folks, drink electrolytes, clean your hands after you wipe your bum, and maybe don't throw up on the football.
Yeah, we talking Green Bay Packers football.
Hey, y'all, Chaz Ingram here with a little Tampax story. One time, I went on vacation in the Bahamas with friends, and of course, I got my period. Now, I didn't want anything to stop me from living my best life on my trip, so I was like, hey, why don't I just try Tampax? Before that, I just really thought the tampons were for adults, and I definitely thought they'd be uncomfortable. Guess what, y'all? They really aren't. It might take a couple of tries, but once it's in right, you shouldn't even feel it, which is great. What a better way to deal with a period than without Tampax. That's Tampacks at twodadsandachaz.com.
Yeah, we talking Green Bay Packers football.
And we are back. We are going to break down the game against the Colts here. There were some awesome moments, some big impact plays. May, what stands out to you?
I think for me personally, it was Malik's first and only touchdown pass. First in the NFL, by the way, which was a mere few inches away from being turned into like a pick six the other way. Like when I watched it, I'm like, oh God, no. And then it's like, oh, don't worry. Dontavian's got that ball into the end zone. Just felt good for the guy in general. You know what I mean? Got dealt a shit hand in Tennessee, gets cast off to us. He's in the offense for 3 weeks, gets thrown into the fire. And I want to take it a little step further. The guy, 12 for 14 for 122 yards, like one of the most efficient quarterback games I've ever seen a high school player play. Okay. And he also added 41 yards on the ground too. And he didn't force it. Everything felt very natural. Guys getting balls and covered in vomit handed off to him. It felt like a good fit. So Malik, incredible performance. You get my game ball, my man.
Hopefully it's not covered in vomit.
Most likely is.
Yeah, Ty, how about you? Who do you feel really stood out in this game?
I'm going to take for impact plays. I'm going to take any of the 12 to 15 yard runs in the first quarter by Josh Jacobs. Pick any one of them. His rushing average in that first quarter particular, but in the first half overall, insane. It's just, and to see him sawed off, and it wasn't like he had to work too hard for it. It was the line pushing big, wide open gaps. He's got a really nice patient stutter step where he kind of like, he has that little bit of, that little bit of stutter step, just enough to let the lane open up. He's got a great feel for it, but those big runs were all kudos to the offensive line.
Yeah, Ty, I couldn't agree more. And I think we want to talk about stars of the game. I think the offensive line play was stellar the entire time. And I can't tell if the Colts are just horrible or if maybe we kind of cracked the code a little bit. But I thought they deserve a lot of credit for the success that we had during a day when they knew we wanted to run the football, and we just imposed our will for 4 quarters.
Guys, the play of Malik Willis was beyond, I feel, more impressive than what the scoreboard showed. That throw that he had to Romeo Dobbs, I just feel like there's a handful of guys in the NFL that can make the velocity of throw that he made. To me, I felt like there was a couple of balls where he showed the league, even though he barely had to throw the ball at all, he still had 85.7% completion ratio. That's insane. You know what
Yeah,
I
it's
mean? That's
insane.
not
Hold
normal
on, though. Hold
quarterback
on.
percentage.
Hold on. Hold on. No. He threw the ball exactly 14 times. It was Malik, go out here and don't fuck it up. It's not like, oh, this guy's got a passer rating of 158.7 and he's going to trash every defense he ever sees. This Colts defense might end up being the worst defense in the league. We didn't ask. He had a good performance, but like, is it like the sign that like Malik Willis is like now going to be like a star on some other team? I don't think so. I think it was a good game where he just had to game manage, and he managed to not fuck it up.
I mean, Mahomes, who? I'm talking about Malik. Okay, Malik Williams. What's his name? Willis? Yeah, Malik Willis. We completely physically dominated them with body blows, one after another. So much so that it was a record-setting day for how many runs we actually had. Not that they were like, there hasn't been teams that, in terms of Packers teams, the last time we had a 53 carry game was 1978. So like we have not had it's only happened to 27 total Packer games in the history of the team. So and all of them have been before 1978. So there's a gap there where nobody was committing to the run to that level.
I do think there's room for improvement from that last game. The fumble on the goal line by Jacobs, week 2 on a team that we're going to beat on the home opener, not a huge deal. That happens in December, I'm livid. The fact that Jonathan Taylor was able to kind of take over there in the second half, I don't know if he's just that elusive of a back. I mean, I know he can catch, he can run, he can do all these things, but he did kind of gash us there for a minute. Some of his big plays I would put in there in the concern file. And then Willis needs to learn to slide. That's my only other thing. He half slid. He needs to learn to. Willis needs to learn to slide. Like he half slid. Like I think it was the second quarter. He half slid and like got kind of creamed, and they were like, "Wait, you weren't going down."
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
And then he tried to carry 3 or 4 guys on his back at one point in the second half, and I was just like, "This." It was a little too high school for me. On handing it off and which guy to hand it off to, and I mean, it was not simple run read option. Like he had receivers coming and tight ends motioning, and I mean, he handled the stuff that he did really well.
He had 6 carries for 41 yards, which is pretty darn good for a quarterback. Like
after 3 weeks, yeah.
I mean, in general, that's just pretty great. This is why the sequencing looks so cool, because those plays still worked, even though they got called back. The defense still was like, oh, geez, okay, next time, remember that, and then we did a different version of it. So it was like we got extra attempts at weird formations. Again, I don't know if we'll ever use these plays again, but maybe good decoy film. Do you guys think decoy film exists?
What's decoy film, Tyson?
Like you put out a version of your team that maybe you're not really gonna play, but other teams will then have film on you and think,
like in practice,
we need to set up. No, like in the game.
I think Belichick does this. I think Belichick does this really well, where it's the version he runs in the playoff is a modified version of the thing he did all year long. And it's if the guy's a slant from the flank in the playoffs, it's the slot end. He's got a way of kind of setting you up to fail against him when you play him a second time or in big situations. I think Belichick's the master at the decoy plays.
Well, I think
The decoy
Belichick has
film.
the clout. He has the clout for a team to have to do what the coach says, to actually follow the coach's long-term strategy, the in-game strategy, the in-drive strategy. You respect that. I don't know that we've had a coach that the whole locker room believed that what they were going to do was what's the best choice around. We should follow what he's doing. I think that right now Matt LaFleur is coming into his prime, guys. I think that we are in prime LaFleur era, and we are going to see what he's actually capable of doing when he has a team of guys that are totally bought in, totally athletically beyond what people are aware of, and really play as a unit for each other. That's what he's building, and it's really happening. Ty?
He's also seen some seasons. He knows how it unfolds. He's got a better context of like how to manage the season overall. When you're a young coach, you're just win, kind of desperate. With the experience of a couple seasons under his belt now, he knows that he doesn't have to be full throttle right away. He knows when to let guys rest and kind of give guys a week off. And he can draw the scheme for that and way ahead of time, so that everybody can be practicing that stuff. And it's the foresight, I think, that you get when you're in your 4th, 5th, 6th NFL season as head coach. And I definitely think he's doing rope-a-dope. Oh, no,
Yeah,
that's all. I definitely think that's what he's doing.
But he's also had to adapt to the fact that he's had different quarterbacks very quickly. He went from having, a stud of studs, right? And dealing with that as a young leader of a team who wasn't the coach. The guy on the field was the coach. And then have doing this changeover, investing in a new quarterback just to lose him after week 1. I mean, you got to give the guy a little bit of credit just for how much fun it looked like he was having just on the field, just to be a coach of the Green Bay Packers, man, jumping up and down and having a great time with just yes-anding every situation. So, I mean, yes, he's finally got some reps, but he has not had an easy go of it quarterback-wise either.
I think he's also you don't know your job until you have to train somebody. That's how I always feel. You think people can tell other people how good you are at it, but until you got to train someone who really sucks and make them actually understand it, you don't know, that you don't know it as well as you do, it's so really, I feel like this Jordan Love experience for him has been a rose coming to bloom,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like at this point I feel like there's no one that doubts him at this point, which is including me, who was a kind of a big dick last year. I'll be honest, I was not kind to Matt LaFleur while he was patient in watching this team develop. Mayhew, do you believe any of that stuff?
Just reality in football. These days, coaches will take the next team's film and break this shit down to a level that you and I can never even understand. And you give them 16, 17, 18 games into the playoffs. Yeah, you better be giving them, man, it's chess, just like you said, Tyson. And the good ones is man, this one play, we do the same lineup, but we can do 5, 6 different things out of this play. So yeah, decoy film, I guess you could call it that, but the good coaches know how to set themselves up and pace themselves throughout the season. So once you do get towards the big dance, you're showing something different each week too, and that's difficult to do. And I think Tyson, as you said, I think we might have a coach that he understands his team. He understands what it's capable of. And this last week was the greatest possible example of that. Because I remember, man, in the McCarthy era when Rodgers, whatever shoulder, something like that, Hundley, whoever that QB we had, right? He ran the same fucking book of plays, even though this guy's not capable of it because he wasn't creative enough to know what his team could do to win. And yeah, so my hat's off to LaFleur for sure.
Wow. I'm pretty excited about that game. The real test is going to be next week against the Titans. So we got to take a quick break, go to halftime. This wraps up the second quarter. But when we get back, we're going to get into a bunch of shit that doesn't matter and then a bunch of stuff that does matter, like who's going to win next week against the Titans. See you in a minute after this break.
Yeah, we talking Green Bay Packers football.
And welcome back. We are going to blast right into the third quarter here into one of our favorite sections we call the Tangent Zone with Ty. I'm tossing it over to you. Ty.
Fellas, so I'm watching this game, and some things I'm really kind of concerned about, but some things I don't care about at all. And I'm just wondering, when it comes to early season games, what are you guys watching for? What matters to you and what doesn't matter? I'm just going to throw some topics out here, see if we can get some answers back. Production. Does it matter if your team is putting up big touchdowns, big yards early on, or not at all? Tyson, what do you think?
In the pass game, no, it does not matter. In the run game, yes, it does. I feel like your team developing the ability to run early in the season is everything throughout the season. You have to know you can do it. But I don't think you need to pass.
Mayhew. Does it matter if you've got big yards, big touchdowns early on or not?
I mean, if you get the W, none of it matters, right? But I mean, you want to see some connection and flow to your offense. But if it's not gaudy long distance touchdowns or just like your offense is shiny at the beginning of the year, no. Look at last year, right? We struggle bust real hard through like the first quarter, first half, and then you pick up momentum. It's all about getting hot at the right time.
Right. Penalties. You guys, penalties late in the season, we can all agree, does not matter what that penalty is. It's infuriating, too much on the line. Early on, penalties, I don't really care. I think it's just finding your rhythm, finding your tempo. It doesn't bother me. Mayhew, penalties, worrisome or not, early season games.
They're very
I hate
worrisome
every penalty
for me.
in
And
every
it just
game on every play. I never want to see them ever.
Really?
for me, it depends on where it's taking place too, Ty. Like if it's the offensive line, it's a bunch of like holding calls. Like, no, that's not good long term. If it's like a passion penalty where like your linebacker is slapping an assistant coach on the sidelines, like that's actually a good sign as far as 2D and a C is concerned. So no, I think penalties are pretty concerning 99% of the time.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of penalties at any point in the game, but I completely agree with the passion penalty statement. I feel like that's our that's our stance as a show. If you're going to get me a 2 15-yarders a game, I'd like if it comes with a nice message, I'm okay with it. I mean, it's okay. You got to get. Are they going to do it a third time? Probably not.
Yeah, make it
So,
worth it. I agree, Tyson. Yeah, if you're gonna go for it, don't get kicked out of the game, but close.
yeah. Where's that line, Ty? Where's that line? We're trying to get Quay back there.
Yeah, it's hard to say. It is. It does feel like, sitting in front of a judge and he's reading off the list, and you're like, you can just stop now. Star production. Does it matter if you're getting everything out of your says we haven't seen Rashawn Gary. Jordan Love's been on the bench. No Christian Watson. We haven't seen really any the 3 interceptions last week. Not one of them was by a guy named Jair. The Stars seem to be taking a back seat in this one. Does that worry or concern any of you guys early on?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That is not. I don't want my Stars performing week 1. I don't want them performing week 2. I want them getting hot mid-season and then staying healthy and blowing out the end of the year as super studs. I don't need them putting up big numbers. I want backups having great starts because we're going to need them later. That's my take.
Ooh, that's the worst take I've ever heard. No, I want my Stars performing at a very high level week 1, week 2, fucking every Tyson. What the hell are you talking about? I need Josh Jacobs blowing up like he did in week 2. Look, if you're gonna have a gap of like 2 to 3 games where you disappear a little bit, okay. But Xavier McKinney, guy's got 2 picks already in the first 2 games. I need guys with big paychecks giving me results often. Case in point.
Yeah. I agree. I agree with that. I just think you got to also realize the flow of your offense and where you're at. Once your offensive line plays well, your team starts to build. Like that's when it happens. Until the offensive line is solidified, your team is it's just a bunch of fucking lead singers out there with a shitty drummer. Like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Without a good drummer, you sound like a bunch of fucking idiots. Okay, you need someone who can play drums first of all, or you're as good as your drummer. That's a fact. Okay, you get that, now you have something. But until then, we're talking about moments. We're talking about you can't have timing without that. And I bring that all up because we're going to be talking about as a team down the road that's a terrible offensive line. And I have to say, our offensive line figured out we're good at something.
I think if Rashawn Gary's going to get to 20 sacks, he better get started now. That's all I'm saying. It's a good time, good as timing as any, Rashawn, to get started on your way to 20.
Oh, I'm hot about this. Everybody complaining about Rashawn Gary is a bunch of fools.
You don't think he'd be getting sacks? You don't think he would be getting sacks if he could? Passing on sacks? I don't think so. I think he would be getting sacks if
that's
if
not
he
his job. This is why Devontae Wyatt's had 2 good weeks in a row, guys. Their job on the outside was to contain running quarterbacks. We had 2 weeks in a row where the biggest threat we're playing against is a running quarterback, and we contained them perfectly. None of them had anywhere to go but to run to the side and throw the ball out of bounds or throw some ill-advised throw to some guy running out of bounds, like Aaron Rodgers style. Like this, we stopped them from moving forward. And that is commitment to a game plan. In the years past, yeah, Clay Matthews might have gotten through, but then he'd leave a big gap, and then people run through, and KGB run after Michael Vick, hot dog. Well, hold the area and take the running quarterback out of the game. We did it 2 weeks in a row, guys. 2 weeks in a row. And we can do that. Now we know.
Yep.
I don't expect to see that next week. I'll tell you that. We're not going to have that. I guarantee you. I will guarantee right now, Rashawn Gary gets at least 1 sack, 1.5. This next game, guarantee it. Also, I wouldn't be surprised if you see a little bit of Lucas Van Ness getting a sack.
I got to agree with Mayhew, man. I want to see him do well right off the bat, just because, especially if it's a home game. If it's a home opener, I want to see him do really goddamn well. Just because, exactly, for the family. And when it comes to, talking about a band full of lead singers, that's why it's called acapella, baby. You don't need a drummer every time. I don't need your good-ass drummer. What I need you to do is perform on the goddamn day at a home opener. That's it. That's it. Lose in Brazil, but come here and give us the goods, baby. That's why we've done 12 home openers as wins in a row.
It's true. Home openers do matter. And I said that in the opening, and I meant it because the fans fucking matter, right? Boom. Ty, you saying the fans don't matter right now?
I'm saying...
Why'd you say that,
Ty? Because I always say it. That's all I say. So we figured out not everything matters. Some things matter more than others. and we have left some issues unresolved. So I think we've... another successful tangent zone there, fellas.
Yeah. We're talking Green Bay Packers football.
Now, Mayhew, last week, you were sold that we had found our franchise kicker. Based on his performance last week, an early season 3 for 4, are you still, this is the kicker of the future?
100%. You got a guy has not missed a single extra point, hit one off of an upright, and then had a miss. This is the NFL, guys, and he is a rookie with a snapper and a holder that he's been working with for like less than a month. You bunch of dickheads! I thought we support this team. Yeah, he is my kicker for the next 40 years. Whatever, I don't care. I'm a Narv Dog supporter.
You're a Narv Dog?
I'm a Narv Dog.
I'm pretty sure Mayhew's absolutely in love. That's a fact. I mean, he was all Narv Dog the whole time, and I'm with. Listen, 2 misses in 2 games is not. It just doesn't. I don't think future kicker forever. I'm like, let's just see, how the next date goes, because I feel like what we're doing right now is kind of, checking out this new guy, heard some things and seen some things. And
can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
If you were on a date and I farted, would you want to go on a date again? Now, if I did it twice in a row after you'd already chosen to go on the second date, would you really want to go on a third?
He might be the fart of the future, though. I mean, he
Might be.
might
Might
not fart
be.
again.
Look,
Might
fellas,
be.
fellas. Okay, if he had like 1-2 attempts a game and he's missing one of them, okay. In both of these games, he's hit 3 straight, and they're right down the fucking middle. Like, this guy just needs a little bit of time. I truly believe that.
Yeah.
Plus, we're desperate. I'm desperate to believe in anything right now. Okay?
It is better than I will say I have more confidence in Narvdog than I would have in either Carlson or the other guy we cut, Joseph.
But if his name was Anders Carlson and had the exact same stat line, how fucking confident would you be right now?
We'd be probably napalm in his house. We'd be napalm in his house.
Yep. He'd be
Shouting
doxxed
out
right
the
now.
and leaving him for dead.
Definitely be doxxed.
What do you
I'm
think
just saying,
about
he
that?
got a little symptom of Sugarfoot. He only got it 2 times. It's fine. His season's early. He's a young guy. He's got a big case of diabetes. We're gonna just figure this out together.
I think Narb Dog's gonna be all right, guys. I'm not against Narb Dog. I'm for him. I'm just gotta just keep looking at the numbers here, and just make sure that number is throwing me off. 44. 44 is not a keeper's number. That's like a college kicker that didn't make it the full semester. Why we're doing 44, that doesn't feel that just doesn't seem like a right number for a kicker. That's a linebacker's number. Anyone
I
else
love
have
it.
anything to say about that?
Tyson,
Like
no,
kicker
Tyson, you're
number.
wrong. Tyson is a purist about his numbers, and it drives me nuts. Wake up, Tyson. It's the 21st century. Running backs can be number 8. Kickers
That's
can
tough.
be fullback numbers.
I hate that.
The number 0, I love. I can't wait to see all the number zeros, a number 0 on every team. It's coming, Tyson. It's the future.
0-1 like the dog jersey. That's fucking dumb. We're gonna start going in negatives. We're gonna start putting decimal points in there. What the hell? What happened, man?
3
No one wants to
numbers.
be number
Let's do
0.
3
That's not a
numbers like
number,
stock cars.
I find it a little suspicious that more than one offensive lineman was vomiting at the same time. I just feel like, unless it was, I just feel like these guys are partying. I'm not against it. I just think
I thought it was from working so hard. I thought it was just, a 74-degree day in Green Bay. It was too damn hot. They weren't used to running down the field so many times.
Yeah.
We probably shouldn't have ordered the second basket of fries before the game, but I really thought it was just a conditioning issue.
Hey, man, I got to tell you, bag of donuts, he never threw up.
I mean,
no, his conditioning was good. Plus, beer makes the donuts stick together.
Boom.
I'll remember that. Little baking tip from Ty.
Yeah.
Hey, why don't we take a break, guys? When we come back, we're going to go into the fourth quarter. We got to talk about who we're playing next week. Malik Willis going back home to go up against the Tennessee Titans and their forgettable head coach. We'll be back after this short break.
Right after this with the fourth quarter of the pod.
Yeah. We talking Green Bay Packers football.
We're back. Thank you so much. 2 Dads and a Chaz. We're talking a little bit of Tennessee Titans. What do you know about them? What do you got? What do you guys know about Tennessee Titans? Because I'm learning a little bit about the old offense here. You guys want to know about it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do.
Yep.
Yeah, they got this quarterback. They want to cut him. They want to. The fans want him gone. Right? They think he's no good, which is funny. Will Levis, because he's actually the best quarterback they have, and their backup, the one that they said is so much better than Malik Willis. You know who that is? Mason Rudolph, the guy who got battered with his own helmet. One of the greatest moments in American history. When you talk shit to a guy twice your size and he rips your head off and beats you with it. That's what football's all about. That was probably one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Anyway, that's their backup. Their offensive line, guys, is exceptionally bad. Like amazingly bad. They might have, I'm pretty sure, the very worst right tackle in all of football. So I'm pretty excited about what we're gonna see. Their left side of the line is very impressive. I'll be honest. Their left side is C.J. Latham or J.C. Latham, Peter Skoronsky, who I was just freaking out about in the draft. Oh, we got to get Peter Skoronsky. It'll just make our lives if we have Peter Skoronsky. And the Titans are terrible. So, like, there you go. I don't know what I'm talking about every year. I think I might figure it out. They got Lloyd Cushenberry the third at center. And don't confuse him with the second or the first. This is the third Cushenberry. Okay. But then the right side is absolute trash, like complete trash. This Dylan Randons and then Nicholas Petit Ferrier, whatever. They call him NPF. This guy is terrible. This guy might be the worst fucking lineman I've ever seen in my life. He had 1 sack in 9 hurries last game. Just to put that in perspective, the guy that they cut and considered a huge waste of time was Andre Dillard, who's on our team right now. His worst game he ever played with the Titans was 7 pursuits allowed. That was it. This guy gave up 9 pressures and a sack last game. So, and he's going to be going up against Rashawn Gary. So I feel pretty strong about my suggestion that he will have a good game. And the worst part is that, like I said, you can't have a good band without a drummer. This is exactly what they're trying to do. They got killer guitar player. They got this guy from Rat. He still can play, dude. They got him over here. They got the lead singer from Skid Row. Okay, he's got it. But the problem is, so they got Calvin Ridley, Tyler Boyd, and DeAndre Hopkins in that wide receiver room. That's star power. If you told me you had those 3 wide receivers in a wide receiver room, I'd be like, damn, okay, I'm worried. The problem, they can't keep that quarterback upright at all. So, and then their running back is a little guy named Tony Pollard, who we played in the playoffs last year for the Cowboys. That's where he ended up. And they got some fucking backup. So they're just not a good offense. They want the quarterback's playing so bad they want to bench him, but there's no one worth developing or that's going to consistently get you anywhere other than Will Levis. So that is the offensive report for the Tennessee Titans. Seems like it should be a pretty good matchup for our team. Mayhew, you go. What do you know about the defense on this team?
Tyson, it's just an extension of what you just said about the offense. I think this is like a franchise that doesn't know what they want to do. They just make a bunch of like confusing choices, have a quarterback that sucks, like pay the guy that's getting too old, and it just kind of comes into this heaping dumpster fire of a situation. So 0-2 to start the year. They gave up 24 points to the Bears. The Bears, where Caleb Williams had 0 touchdowns, 93 yards.
Dumpster fires.
And then the Jets, just this last week, A-Rod hung 24 on them. It was a real terrible game to watch. A couple names of note for the fans out there. Good example of paying a ton of money to somebody like Darius Sneed. This is their cornerback. I guess you'd say their elite one. Came from Kansas City last year. He's a player, but I mean, we'll see. Jeffrey Simmons. We want to talk about old and just no longer good. They're like, let's give that guy a contract, put him in the back end at safety. So real easy pickings. The one name you will likely see on Sunday is a man named Harold Landry, who I do actually believe in. I liked him coming into the draft. This guy is a sack machine, just all over the field. He's an issue. So you could see that name pop up a little bit. But end of day, fellas, it's pedestrian. This defense, this offense, this team. If this game wasn't on the road, I mean, I think we'd completely crush them. But as Ty said about the temperatures in Green Bay, Tennessee's a little hotter. I just hope the boys can hold up down there.
Yeah, we'll send them Pedialyte, make sure they can do it.
That's a good one. What do you think about the coaching situation, Ty?
Well, I looked at the coach. They have a first-year head coach in Brian Callahan. He spent his 5 previous seasons as the Bengals offensive coordinator, so he obviously comes from a program of mediocrity and has carried that mediocrity with him to his new team. He's also a yeller. And it's not just for when he's yelling at his quarterback who's just blown the 2nd game in a row. Yelling isn't just for the practice field for Brian Callahan. He yells drive-throughs unnecessarily loud. He yells dropping his kids off at school. He's screaming his head off. Guy can't go to Menards without screaming at 3 people. He's a yeller. You got to watch out for it. We're going to see a lot of yelling on the sidelines this week. Temper tantrums, things thrown. He's a big baby about a lot of stuff. He's also an avid cyclist and says his favorite part of cycling, other than the shorts, is riding uphill at 1 mile an hour in the middle of the lane, refusing to get out of the way or speed the fuck up. This guy is a real piece. Obviously, dickhead individual, and we're gonna destroy him this Sunday.
Well, guys, let's take a short break, and when we come back, we will we'll wrap her up here. What do you guys say?
I feel good about it.
Be back after this.
Yeah. We talking Green Bay Packers football.
And welcome back to Two Dads and a Chaz. Guys, this has been an incredible honor and a joy to be able to share this season with you guys, to talk about the development of this team, the development of this franchise, and the development of these fans. I feel like we are getting a point in our fandom that maturity is set in, and there's some wisdom we can lean on here. So I feel like this year, my call to action, or for this week, I should say, is to just trust in the system. Don't freak out and overreact from anything you see in one play. You got to think about the bigger picture and trust in the bigger picture. And no, in the 4-quarter breakdown of this year, we got 2 games before we even get into the second quarter. We got a long way to go, and it's going to be an exciting ride. And I really feel like the more you can get your team to buy into what you're doing while getting good at what they're not great at this time in the year, the higher your ceiling is as a franchise and as a team. And that's what I feel like Coach LaFleur is doing. And I don't know if there's anyone in the league that can stop it. So I hope you guys can fully support and love this team as much as I do. And if they fail, we will tear them apart. It's just what we do. But if they don't, we're going to be like, yeah, that's what we said. We love them the whole time. Anything left in your glass, gentlemen? Anything you wanted to discuss that we didn't hit on today?
I did want to mention that I got word that Jordan Love was like this close to actually starting that game, guys, and did a little bit of digging too. And it turns out that since 2015, right, and this is just quarterbacks with MCL sprains, no quarterback sat out more than 2 games. A lot of them were like 0, 1. So, I mean, knock on wood, but he might be back next week, with any luck. Also wanted to give a quick shout out to our punter, Danny Boy Whelan. Man, that guy quietly going about his business. 3 punts, locked them all inside the 20. One of them was like a 66-yarder that completely flipped the field. This guy is, I think he might be special.
Yeah, he also brought back a play that we hadn't seen in about 2 decades, which is the coffin corner. Danny Whelan aiming for the sideline. I love it.
No, I think that is a good point, man. I can't remember a lot of corner punting. I do remember a lot of 30-yard punts that made me go, what the hell was that? That is what I'm accustomed to. I think we've just been broken to the point that we've kind of accepted that. So I don't know what to do with an exceptional punting game. I don't know how to celebrate that, but I'm glad that we are dominating the time of possession right now. I mean, did you guys see that game? 40 minutes to 40 to 20. Like, we had twice as much time in possession as them. That's incredible. Like, that's coaching.
And I do think that's one thing I haven't heard too many people talk about is Malik is going to have a pretty good insight into what this team does front to back, right? I mean, come on.
Who do you think needs to step up next week, guys?
I'll stay at the inside linebacking core because one of my favorite draft picks this year, 2nd rounder, Edgerrin Cooper, started getting some flashes in this game. Tyson, you brought it up earlier. Incredibly instinctual, incredibly fast. It's just going to take him a little bit to kind of figure things out in the NFL, but I wouldn't be surprised if he starts making some impact plays pretty early on in his career here.
Yeah, I agree. I think that they're trying to hide him a little bit. it doesn't feel like they're letting him play. And when he's out there, he's ferocious. He looks like he just wants to. He finds the ball. Like every time he was out there, you knew it because he was like finding a way to kill somebody. So that's my kind of middle linebacker. I'll tell you that.
What do you think, Ty?
I'm looking for Preston Smith to come up big. He is an anchor, and I think a lot of this is going to be coming his way. And I think if he's patient and waits for it, he could have some big numbers. He could have some big impact. I'm looking for Preston to be that leader on the defense too, and bring us that pro energy. So I'd like to see Preston step up.
I'd also like to see our fans step up just a little bit. Liking, subscribing, sharing, all the good stuff. You know what I mean? Get out there. It's not just about the Packers. It's also about us. Help us out, guys. Let's get out there.
You can send money directly to Chaz's bank account now with online banking. It is not hard. Anyone can do it.
Mhm.
Just most smartphones, really.
Mhm.
We will put the QR code at the bottom here. Feel free to just give me your social.
We do have sponsorship slots available. The
Yeah.
rate is only getting higher. So get in now on the ground floor with that sponsorship if you're even thinking about it. Because, man, I tell you what, 6 weeks from now, you're going to be paying through the nose and being like, that's it? That's what I get for that's a 15-second spot. I got to shell out all this dough. I think you'd be smart to get in now with that sponsorship.
Well, all right, guys. Thank you so much for coming and checking out another episode of Two Dads and a Chaz. Go fucking Pack, go. Make sure you watch, like, subscribe, keep in touch, send us emails, send Chaz money. And, Chazzy, why don't you go ahead and break us down for the end here for the hashtag?
Sure. Thanks again for liking, subscribing, and paying attention to 2D and a C. This has been really amazing run these last couple years, just watching how everything has changed, facial hair, body types, skin tones. So I want to break it down like we always do with a hashtag, which is a hashtag reclaiming the North. Gentlemen, it's always a pleasure to do this with you and everybody watching. 3, 2, uno. Hashtag
Reclaiming
the
North.
You're really pale, by the way, Mayhew.
Two dads and a Chaz, putting trophies on the wall. Two dads and a Chaz is talking Green Bay Packers football. Not exactly qualified, but answers the call. Two dads and a Chaz, talking Green Bay Packers football.
We gonna break it all down, probably leave out some facts. We gonna make some statements that we'll likely regret. Most of gossip and rumors made straight off the top. So crank up the air conditioner, cause it's bound to get hot.
Two dads and a Chaz, you know we live it and we live it right. Two dads and a Chaz, we gonna break down football for you tonight. Besides them rings and putting trophies on the wall.
Trophies, y'all.
Two dads and a Chaz is talking Green Bay Packers football. Yeah, we talking Green Bay Packers football.